It seems like a lot to me from everything that you just said that basically, yes, you know that Nick Foles isn't a perennially great quarterback, but he's a guy that can get hot. But it also seemed like you were saying to me that he's not a guy that can lose the game for you. And here in Chicago, it's starting to kind of turn into a situation where he's a guy, and it's low hanging fruit from the point if you just blame him. Because one of the questions I have for you is about his fundamentals. And I can't judge his fundamentals here in Chicago. Another reason why I wanted to get someone from Philadelphia, because he has a guy in his face. So when he's throwing off his back foot, I don't know if that's something that he does. Like here in Chicago, we knew Jay Cutler. Jay Cutler, phenomenal arm, right? But because of that phenomenal arm, fundamentally his footwork was trash. Like he would never just go through and throw the ball. So one, coaching-wise, do you think it's really a coaching problem here in Chicago? Because it seems like in Philadelphia, the coaches knew what to do with Nick Foles, and perhaps here in Chicago, the coach doesn't know what to do with Nick Foles.
I would say the one thing, if you go back to his early tenure with the Eagles at 2013, 2014 timeframe, he had a tendency to hold on to the ball too long. He had a tendency, you mentioned the back foot issue there. He would tend to kind of fall away as he's throwing, to lose some of that strength into his throws, and that would kind of leave some of those balls up in the air. So that was one thing. The other thing, I haven't watched too much of Nick with the Bears this year. I did catch the latter part of the game against the Saints the other night because it was before the Eagles played the Cowboys. It was on at the stadium. And there's a part of, look, anyone who's connected to that Eagles organization, they're always going to look at Nick, and he's going to have a special place in our hearts just because he's genuinely as good a guy as he is, behind the scenes in the locker room, as you would see from a public persona. And certainly it's going to be a different relationship for Eagles fans as compared to Bears fans who really have no connection to Nick. But nonetheless, there's that vested interest of watching. And it seems like because of the struggles of the offensive line, and it doesn't seem like, I know Montgomery had a good game, but I don't know if the running game has been consistent enough for him that he's not a type of guy who's going to have the elusiveness to make second reaction type plays. He's not going to be like a Mahomes or Russell Wilson, even a Carson Wentz in that regard, where if the pressure's coming down on him, he can get out of the way and make something out of nothing. And that's probably going to hurry up his decision making. It's going to rush him into some bad throws. I'll go back to the 2018 season. It was the divisional round. This was actually after the double doink game against the Bears.
You're gonna do us like that?
I'm just mentioning. I'm not just mentioning. That's the week after they're playing the Saints, and they're on the road. And Nick Foles had this hot start, got the Eagles off to a big lead, but they lost Brandon Brooks to an Achilles injury, arguably the best guard in football. And players have said that if we had Brandon Brooks, we would have won that game because the interior pressure of the Saints just caused so much problems for the offense. Run game for the Eagles that season wasn't as strong as 2017. You're now getting that leakage in the middle of the offensive line, and the Eagles offense struggled through the rest of the game, gave enough of a window for the Saints to come back and win in a very close ball game.
Yes.
So I think that's the biggest thing is he's got to have things right around him.